Good morning and good Chodesh, Chodesh Sivan. May this world come to a better matzav. We should know no more sorrow. Chodesh Tov, Chodesh Sivan, going to receive the Torah Meretz Hashem this year in Horayos, Yud, Beis, Amud Aleph, Horayos, Beis, Amud Aleph, Shir's Lulu Nishmas, Ovi Moiri, Menachem Ben Akiva, Sora Bas Moshe, Tzila Bas Ben Zion, Lofuas, Kol Choilim, Lulu Nishmas, everybody that died. Ameshuach B'Shem Mishcha, Yud Gimel, Yud Beis, Amud Aleph, 7 lines from the bottom of the page. There are 2 dots. Hameshuach b'shemen hamishcha. Today's topic will be the different Kohanim Gedolim. Apparently, there are 4 different Kohanim that can be defined as special Kohanim. And soon we're going to meet them all. We know some of them. But first, we're going to talk about the pasuk, the simple meaning of the pasuk. Hameshuach b'shemen hamishcha. Tonu Rabbanon. Mashiach, it says if the Mashiach is choite, the Mashiach sins, then he has to bring what? He has to bring the korban of the bull, the pal pnimi, yochel melech. How do you know? Maybe it's a melech, because the melech is also nimshach. Mashiach means anointed one. We just learned extensively that both Kohanim and Melachim are Mashiach. So how do you know this is talking about Kohen and not Melech? Talmud Loimar, Kohen. Well, it says outright, Kohen. Says the Gemara, Kohen, Yochel Merube B'Godim. Very nice. If it's a Kohen, maybe a Kohen Merube B'Godim. What does Merube B'Godim mean? I'll say again, and I said before, now that we know the history better, we can understand that in Bais Rishon until the times of Yeshiyahu, which means about 95% of the time of Beis HaMikdash Rishon, the Kohanim were Mashuach. They had Shemen HaMishcha. Every Kohen Gadol, before it becomes Kohen Gadol, how is he being sort of inaugurated? By the Shemen HaMishcha on his forehead over here. But Yoshiyahu stored it, Goynez. Now we have an issue, we don't have Shemen HaMishcha anymore. So how does one become Kohen Gadol? By wearing the clothes. Merube B'Godim means the extra 4 clothes, the choshen, the fancy things, the me'il, the tzitz. That's what makes him Kohen Gadol. That's really, so when we talk about the 2 types of Kohanim Gedolim, they can never coexist. One of them is Shemen HaMishcha in Bais Rishon, and Merube B'Godim, the one who does not have Shemen HaMishcha, that's all he means. Merube B'Godim, all he has is the extra clothes, and he doesn't have the Shemen HaMishcha. That's at the very, very end of Bais Rishon, the tiny bit of that, and Bais Sheni, all of it. So now, if it says Kohen, maybe any Kohen, including Kohen Merube B'Godim or Bais Sheni, maybe he too has to bring the, what? That special korban. Talmud Loimar Mashiach. No, he has to be a Mashiach. He has to be anointed with oil, and not stam a Kohen who does not have the oil. So you need 2 conditions. Very simple. Kohen Gadol, who's Mashiach. He brings the korban, the speciale korban of the pal that goes into the Kodesh. Now, wait a second. There's a 3rd guy here. Mashiach. If you say Mashiach, you say the one who's anointed. Yochel Meshuach Milchama. Ooh. Meshuach Milchama is a different persona. Meshuach Milchama is the Kohen that goes out to war with the soldiers, and he gives them the pep talk at the beginning, right? Don't be scared, and this and that. Hashem is with you. The first chaplain in history, Lavdil. So then, now Lavdil, some chaplains are Jewish actually. So then, right, all kinds of, what? Phew, what is chus? So then, not so, there's a Kodesh, no question. So then what happens? Maybe Mashiach is the Kohen which is anointed, and his job is not to be Kohen Gadol, but he's Kohen Mashiach. He's another type of Kohen who goes out to war. Maybe he too, if he sins, he brings a special korban and not a regular one. So says the Gemara, Nishta Zoi, Talmud Loimer, V'ha Kohen ha-Mashiach, the Mashiach, she'eino Mashiach al Gabov. It's a type of Kohen that has no other Mashiach on top of him. He has to be number 1, gold medal. That's the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Mashiach who goes to war, we'll see later, has a lower status. He's not Kohen Gadol. He's actually not Kohen Gadol. We'll see later in Rashi. Kohen Mashiach who goes to war is a special Kohen. His job is the army. But he's not considered to be the Kohen, which is the Gadol, and only the HaMashiach, he's the one. My mashma. How do you know that, hey, that the letter hey, the means the special one, the biggest one, the best one? Rava says regarding a completely different topic. Rava says in Maseches Chulin in Kuflam and something, it says Hayerech Hamiyumenes Shebayerech, which means when we talk about Gid Hanoshe, that we're not allowed to eat the sinew, of the thigh. So it says Hayorech, the thigh. Says Rava, only the right one is osir and the left one is allowed. I'm not saying that's halacha l'maisa. That's Rava's opinion, that the Gid Hanoshe that's forbidden to be eaten is only from the right side, the right leg, and not the left one, because it says Hayarech, this special one. Konami HaMashiach, here too. HaMashiach, HaMiyuman Shebemeshuchim. The Miyuman, the most skilled, like the right. Miyuman means skilled and also Yamin, right. Right-handed, which means the best one. We know the Kohen Gadol really won his title for good reason. It was really the best Kohen around. It was like a competition. And therefore, the Kohen also has more responsibility and he has to bring a bigger korban. The Sheikh and Kohen of the Milchama, with all due respect, is not such an ay. The Kohen who goes to war is very choshuv, but not as choshuv as the biggest one, the greatest one, and therefore he brings a regular korban. Omar Mar. Mashiach. Now we're going to analyze what we said before and ask a question, but it's going to be very quick. Omar Mashiach. Yochol Melech. The Gemara suggested maybe Mashiach means what? The Melech. Maybe it means the Melech, and the Melech brings the par. What? You really thought that? You really thought that the Melech, in case of Chatos, brings a par pnimi, and not a regular korban? Melech paru de maisi, seiru de maisi. We already know, it says outright in the Torah, black and white, that the Nosi, which is a Melech, brings a regular seir, male seir, outside, and not the bull inside. So what kind of funny havamina is that, right? The people in the restaurant, remember Marshall, one says Coke, one says Martini. So you say the Martini, maybe he wants Coke. No, he wants Martini, not Coke. He said what he wanted. What's Avamina? It says the Melech already has a box filled that he has to bring the korban of the seir. So what Avamina that is, then maybe he's the one who brings the bull. It's either a bull or a seir. Answers the Gemara, yes, I do need a drosha. It's not a stupid question, Chalila. Salkedaita Chamina, I would have thought, Al Shigigas Maise Yavi Seir. What kind of mistake, what kind of mistake are we talking about? Al Shigigas Maise Yavi Seir. If the Melech makes a regular technical mistake, he thinks that the Chaylev is Shuman. He thinks the Shabbos is Sunday. He thinks the Dam is ketchup. Regular Shigigas Maisa. He brings a Seir, and that's halacha. But Havamina would be Alalem Dovo Yovipar, like the Kohen. I would have thought two different types, one's Martini, one's Coke, which means if he makes a halachic mistake, Efsha Melech is a Talmid Chochem, like David, Mufla, he knows what he's talking about, and yet he made a mistake, and he made a whole halachic cheshbon that really the Chaylev is allowed, for whichever reason, the Chaylev of that animal, let's say, I would have said, then he brings a par. Like that's true about the Kohen. Kamash Malan, we don't say that. We don't say that he has two korbanos, a seir for regular mistake and a pal for a halachic mistake, because those porim are brought for a halachic mistake, like Beis Din. Kamash Malan, nishtazoi. The king, whichever mistake he makes, is a regular korban of seir. What do I mean regular? It's his regular korban. It's a male goat, and that's it. That's how it starts. That's how it ends. It ends. And the one that has to bring the inside korban of the pal, besides Beis Din, the only other person that does that is the Kohen Gadol. Question time.
Why do you say that
Let's go. 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Ein b'meshuach b'shemen hamishcha. So now we saw in the Mishnah, we saw what's mefurash, that the Kohen Gadol and the Kohen, which one Kohen Gadol? The one who has the Shem and the Mishcha, who's anointed with the oil, and the one who's not, he only, so to speak, has the 8 begodim. What's the difference between them? We saw in the Mishnah, the difference is they don't bring the one who does not have Shem and the Mishcha, because he's not lucky enough to live in Bais Rishon, only in the era of Bais Sheni, he has the begodim, so he does not bring the pal. In case of mistake, he doesn't bring the special part to the inside of the Kodesh. He brings the regular korban. Now, Zog the Gemara, Masnisin de Loki Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Okay, that's legitimate. The Rabbi Meir, had it been Rabbi Meir, it wouldn't fit. Look, I'll show you. Atanya, it says in the Brisa, Merubev Godim, maybe parabol kol mitzvahs. Div Rabbi Meir, outright, black and white. Rabbi Meir says Merubev Godim, a person who's not Shemen HaMishcha, is not Meshuach, all he has is the extra cloth, and yet he does bring the parabol kol mitzvahs, which is the par Elam Dover, the power of the coin, outright. And Chachamim disagree. They say no, only the coin Mashiach, only he's the one with the oil, he's the one who brings the special power. Okay, my Talmud Rabbi Meir, what's Rabbi Meir's reason? Where is he taking it from? The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, Mashiach, ainly, it says in the Torah, Mashiach, ainly al Mashiach B'Shem Mishcha. I know the one who's Mashiach, who's anointed, B'Shem Mishcha, brings the korban, the special one, the big one, the bull. Merubab Godim minayin. How do you know that Merubab Godim, the one who has the extra cloth, and no Shemen Mishcha, how do you know that he too is the same? Talmud Lomer, HaKohen HaMashiach. Again, the Hey, HaKohen HaMashiach. Chachamim probably don't learn that the Hey is such a big deal, but he believes, Rabbi Meir, HaKohen HaMashiach comes to tell me that, also the Kohen, the regular, not regular, the Kohen Gadol without Shemen Mishcha, also he has to bring the special power if he made a halachic mistake. So far so good, but now we're going to get into trouble. Frag the Gemara, b'ma ukimta ke'Rabbanon. You just made the ukimta, you just explained the Mishnah like Rabbanon, against Rabbi Meir. That's how the Reisha, the first part of the Mishnah works, okay? Ema Seifa, keep reading and you'll see mid-air collision. Ema Seifa, look what happens at the end of the Mishnah. The end of the Mishnah talks about the Kohen and ben Kohen Mishamesh, the Kohen She'ovar. What does that mean? Welcome to the fourth Kohen in the story. Who is that? Kohen She'ovar. As I told you before, and I'm telling you now, what happens if a Kohen is Tomeh? A Kohen Gadol became Tomeh for a week. Makes a lot of sense for 1 week to be Tomeh for different reasons, He's a Zav, Tmei Meis. He's Tomeh for a week or so. During that time, what do? We need the Kohen Gadol to officiate. We need where is the man? You bring a substitute. You bring another, you bring a person, the Sab Kohen Gadol. Now, after a week, Mr. Kohen Gadol, the original, comes back to work. So what do you say? We say to the Sab, bye, go home. We don't need you anymore. We don't love you anymore. Is that what we say? No, it's very insulting. And also, Malin B'Kodesh Ve'en Moridin, you can't bring him down. And therefore, they both officiate. Begadol speaking, now we're going to say Mechlokes, a lot of details. Don't ask questions because most probably they will be answered soon. So now we say the Kohen, the She'ovar, the Kohen that's been there before, and the Kohen that comes back, they coexist. They become co-workers. They basically have the same status. Now let's read again. The first line, Ema Seifa. What does the Seifa say? Ein ben Kohen Mishamish, the Kohen She'ovar. The only difference between the Kohen that actually is officiating now and the Kohen She'ovar, the Kohen that's She'ovar, the second one that now is a substitute that got stuck there. The only difference between them are two differences. On Yom Kippur, the first bull that brought in Beis HaMikdash to represent all the Kohanim, is brought only by the Kohen, original Kohen Gadol. And a Asir Seifa, what's Asir Seifa? Every day there will be a korban brought from the household of the Kohen Gadol. 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. Tomit Shashachar, Tomit Shel Ben Arbaim. That would be from the Kohen Gadol's mincha, daily mincha of Kohen Gadol. That would only be brought by the real number one guy and not the substitute who got stuck. But other than that, they're equal. They both wear the begodim. Wow, two people looking the same, meaning same begodim. They're not allowed to marry almono. They're not allowed to be nitma even to their own father and mother. A lot of things we're going to see it all very much in detail. But they're the same except for two things. Says the Gemara, Oson le Rabbi Meir, that works with Rabbi Meir. This opinion, which we just saw now, the Seifa, is yes according to Rabbi Meir's opinion. The Tanya, now we're going to see what that means. It says in the Brisa, Ira boy psul b'Kohen Gadol. A Kohen Gadol had a psul, let's say tuma, to make it simpler, or maybe a temporary mum. A temporary blemish, he broke his arm in the bathtub. Broke his tub in the mikveh, is his arm, and now for 2 months he's in cast, then he's well again. So for 2 months he wasn't working, he's a balmum. Now he's back to work. Okay, the oval, now he's off duty, he's on holiday, finishing 3 Maseches, Ve'yimino kohen acher tachtov, they appointed another kohen instead of him. Harishon chazal avodosoi. Now Mr. Number One is back to work. Hello, my cast is off. Ooh, all very nice. Yeah, in Hadassah they said I can go back to work. Great. Going back to work. Vasheni, the second one, the substitute, remains called mitzvahs kiuna olav. Diva Abimeir. The second one remains with all the mitzvahs of kiuna, except for maybe one item of Yom Kippur, of the thing. But basically, the second kohen remains in job. He is now there are two CEOs in Beis HaMikdash now. Yeah, except for one difference, they're both working together. And that's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yossi Omer, not everyone agrees to that. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rishon Chazal Avodosai. The first one is back at work normal. The Sheni, the second one, is really stuck. Eneroi Lolokon Godol, Velolokon Hedioit. The second one is not a Kon Godol and not a Kon Hediot either. I don't know what he does all day long. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and soon we're going to explain why. Rock Rega, we are in North Korea now, in case you haven't noticed. Beautiful country. Ama Abiyoisi, enjoy the view from the bus while the policemen are looking at you very intensely. Ama Abiyoisi, soon you'll go to South Korea. Ama Abiyoisi, Rabbi Yossi wants to endorse his opinion. Maase Yosef ben Elim Mitzipoiri. Yeah, there was Yosef ben Elim from Tzipori up north, and he was a Kohen Gadol. Shir b'psul b'Kohen Gadol. As a Kohen Gadol, some kind of blemish, a problem, a tuma, temporarily is off chart, off the duty. Please keep the round parentheses as well, the round, what thingy. Kohen Gadol, now, and Gadol, and then the Aminu Tachtov, Uba Maisel Fnei Chachomim, excuse me, there's a gear there on the side. Ba Maisel Fnei Chachomim V'Omu, Rishon Chazal Avodosoi. The first one goes back to work. Sheni Eno Lolokon Gadol Lolokon Hediot. The second one cannot be either Gadol or a regular one. Now we're continuing. The line starts Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol Mishum Eva. He cannot be Kohen Gadol because that would create animosity. A Kohen Gadol, not a Kohen Gadol, competition, unhealthy. Even the greatest people, many times, they're not exactly team workers, team players. The Kohen Gadol is his regular way. He doesn't like to share his position now with Mr. New Guy that was a substitute for 1 week. All of a sudden became competition. I don't need partners. I'm sorry. I don't like it. It can create animosity. Kohen Hediot, so just demote him to be back to Kohen Gadol. You had your time of glory, mister, for 1 week or so. Now go back to regular Kohen. Excuse me, what's the ego thing? Says Gemara, no. Mishun Malin B'Kodesh Ven Moridin. As we all know, I can see everybody knows, Jeff. Malin B'Kodesh Ven Moridin. There's always a rule in Halacha. You always bring things higher and higher in Kedusha, and you don't bring them down to become less Kodesh. Many, many examples. Yeah, whatever the Shulchan was, this and Barzal, then Kesef, then Zohov. Bekitzer, you don't bring people down in Kedusha, people or items or whatever you want, you don't bring down in Kedusha. So now he's stuck. He can't go back to be a regular Kohen because we can't demote him Kedusha-wise, and he can remain Kohen Gadol. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. But Rabbi Meir says no. Rabbi Meir says Nish Tazoi. Rabbi Meir says once he's a Kohen Gadol, he remains Kohen Gadol, and he works and he coexists and co-works with the first guy. So now let's summarize the problem. The Gemara now summarizes and asks a question, and I'll summarize it for you again. Reisha Rabbonon, the Sefer Rabbi Meir, question mark. This Mishnah is inconsistent. The first part of the Mishnah follows Rabbonon against Rabbi Meir, and the second part follows Rabbi Meir against Rabbonon. Meaning, let's summarize. There are two different issues altogether, but it looks like every time we pick and choose our favorite opinion. Supermarket. What's going on? In the ratio, we say what? We say that only Kohen Mashiach, only Kohen Mashiach, that not just with the clothing, Mashiach, only he brings the power. That's against Rabbi Meir. In the second part of the Mishnah, we say, Kohen who was a substitute for 1 day, week or day, remains Kohen Gadol for life. Yeah, once Kohen Gadol, always Kohen Gadol. Yeah, that's against Rabbi Meir. Because Rabbi Meir, that's with Rabbi Meir, that goes with Rabbi Meir, that is up in Rabbi Meir. So are you pro Rabbi Meir, aren't you? Is this Mishnah a quote for Rabbi Meir? The Gemara in the Havamina understands that when Rabbi brought down a Mishnah, usually it's a cut and paste from an opinion of one Tana. Yeah, so which Tana are you talking about? Is it Rabbi Meir or is it not? It looks like a mix and match, like a patchwork over here. So what's going on? There are rather easy answers, but now I will hear your questions. If they're quick, let me just see the answers and then thank you. Answers the Gemara, because they're very easy answers. Says the Gemara, Omar of Chizda, answer number one. Yes, live with it. Reish Rabbanon, v'sefer Rabbi Meir, no problem whatsoever. Rav Chizda thinks that it's absolutely fine and cool and nice and dandy to have first part of the Mishnah like one person and the second one like the other person, and that's absolutely fine. He doesn't see it as a statistic problem. B'chlal, okay? Okay. Now, Rav Chizda, yeah. Rav Yosef Omar, Rav Yosef says, Rebbe, who wrote the Mishnah? Who edited the Mishnah? Rebbe. V'nosiv lali b'titanoi. Rebbe liked one opinion regarding one machlokes and another opinion regarding another machlokes. L'havdil elf $1,000, $1 million, a newspaper editor. He has one article from him. Here he believes like this political opinion, and the other column like the other political opinion. It's not a steer minei ubei. It's two different issues. Yeah. Now, Rov Omar, Rab Shimoni, really, this Mishnah is a quote of one Tana. His name is Rab Shimon. It is a cut and paste from Rab Shimon, but Rab Shimon himself holds like Rabbi Meir in one issue and does not believe Rabbi Meir in the other issue. And that is we're going to see now, but now it's really question time. You've been very patient. Yes. Okay. Rav Omar. Yeah, Rab Shimoni. So we said this is the opinion of Rab Shimon. He agrees with Reb Meir on one nekuda and disagrees on the other. Okay? The Tanya says in the Brisa. This Brisa is going to show us the opinion of Rab Shimon, which holds like Reb Meir in X and not in Y. Everything will be explained. This Brisa is very elaborate. It says Dvorim. The line starts with the word Dvorim. Dvorim sheben Kohen Gadol Kohen Hediot Eluhem. These are the differences between Kohen Gadol and Kohen Hediot. Here they are. Par habo al kol mitzvahs. What does that mean? The special par brought if there's a halachic mistake made by the Kohen Gadol followed by himself, he has to bring a special par. A pnimi, chatas pnimis, as opposed to a regular Kohen, brings a regular korban. Upar Yom Kippurim. Par Yom Kippurim, the one that does atone for all the Kohanim's Tumas Mikdash v'Kadoshov, if they enter the Mikdash by mistake Tomeh, but is brought from the money of the Kohen Gadol and is dealt with by the Kohen Gadol only, not regular Kohanim. Vasiyah Seifa, the daily Mincha brought morning and evening, only Kohen Gadol, not Kohen Hediot. The Kohen Hediot can bring it, by the way, but it's from the money and represented and originates from the Kohen Gadol. V'loi poreh v'lo poirem. He's not allowed to be poreh. If the Kohen Gadol is ovel, chalila, he's not allowed to grow his hair long. He's not allowed to show avelus. V'lo poirem. He's not allowed to do what we call kriya. He's not allowed to tear his clothes, the Kohen Gadol, when somebody dies. Not supposed to show any avelus. Kohen Gadol does not belong to anybody. It's as if he has no family regarding tuma and avelus. Only Hashem is his family. Aval, hu poirem milamata, v'hediot milamala. The only prima he can do is to be poirem underneath. We're going to see what that means. According to Ravi, means in the bottom of the cloak. Let's say not a big dekura. Big dekura are not allowed to tear. But if he has regular clothes, supposed to regular clothes and do a kriya underneath, which is not a halachic kriya. He's not allowed to do the kriya on the top of the beged, but in the bottom of it. That is the Kohen Gadol. We're going to go into detail regarding this kriya. The Hediot Milamala, a Kohen Hediot has a regular Kriya from the top, like Avelim do, regular people. Then Mitame Lekoivim, a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to be Mitame even to close relatives. The Kohen Hediot can be Nitma to the 7 close relatives. A Kohen Gadol, nada, nobody, he's not allowed to be Nitma B'chlal. Umuzar ala Besula, if he wants to marry after become Kohen Gadol, wants to take a second wife, very nice. She should be a Besula, which means she should be 12. Yeah, she should be very, very young, so we know 100% she's a psula, it's not torn. Also, Ba'almono, he's not allowed to marry an almono. A Kohen Hediot is not allowed to marry a Grusha. A Kohen Gadol, Grusha and almono. Umachzir Sarotzeach. Let's say Rotzeach B'Shoigeg is Rotzeach B'Shoigeg, and he fled to the refugee city, Ir Miklat, where the Kohen Gadol dies. Then he goes back, the Rotzeach B'Shoigeg, if it happened in these times, goes back home, only Kohen Gadol, not Kohen Hediot. Umakriv Oinen. Oinen means the first day of the Misa. Let's say as a relative who died, and now it's before the Kvura, the very first stage before Avelus, it's called the Ninus. It's supposed to be Makriv. Yeah, hold back your tears. You can cry if you want. But what? But you're supposed to, the show must go on. Bring the korban. Keep the korban going without, there's no Easter Makriv Oinen. There's supposed to Kohen Hediot, which is not allowed to Makriv Oinen. The Kohen Hediot who was Makriv Oinen is a very severe thing. He's not allowed to. The Kohen Gadol is supposed to be Makriv even when he's at the worst stage of Tsar. Vein oichel, but he does not eat kodshim of korbanos when he's in oinen. He's supposed to be makriv, but the food, the eating chatos, oshom, the flesh of the korban, he does not eat when he's in oinen. Vein choylek, and he does not also share. Doesn't even have his share in the korban flesh with the other kohanim when he's in oinen. In other words, some people would say, "Okay, I have my portion. I'll give it to another kohen." No, you don't have anything to do with achila. No fun, only work when you're in Oinen. Oinen, you work, but you don't eat. He is allowed to be makriv, bring the korban, whichever korban he wants, any part, whenever he wants. Even though Beis HaMikdash was very organized by Mishmaros and Botei Av, the Kohen Gadol can come whenever he wants and just bring the korban anytime he wants, regardless to any mishmoro. He is the Iber Kohen. And also he's supposed to take, or he can take the best part of the meat. He can do whatever he wants, basically. That's only Kohen Gadol, not the Hediot. As we all know, he has a Shmoyne Begudim. And not just for the Chol Avodas Yom Kippurim and Eksher Elaboy. And also the Avodas Yom Kippur, as we all know, only Kohen Gadol does the work, officiates on Yom Kippur, nobody else. That's besides the Par, by the way. The Par has to do with money, the Par Yom Kippur. But besides that, all the other things, the Seir, the Azazel, everything inside Beis HaMikdash is just him. With the first wide line. Remember old memories? Rabbi Shimon holds that the Kohen Gadol is potur to bring any korban in case of Tumas Mikdash v'Kadoshov. Let's say he went into Beis HaMikdash by mistake when he was Tomeh. He was Tumeh, and he went into Beis HaMikdash by mistake. He does not bring the korban chatos oile v'yoyred. Why? Because it says as ima kol. It says there's some kind of word, a mute, a thing called, that says what? Only somebody that is equal to everybody else is the one that has to bring the korban of the Tumas Mikdash v'Kadoshov. A Kohen Gadol is not equal because it does not bring what? It does not bring a regular chatas. Remember, a Kohen Gadol turned on the light on Shabbos because he thought it was Sunday. He brings 0. Mimeli is so different regarding Tumas Mikdash v'Kadoshov. There's a special pasuk that says if you exclude it, you exclude it from that korban. Now continues the Raisa. The Chula Nagin b'Merubah B'Godim. And all of them, yeah, okay, sorry about that, some mistake over here. The Kulan Nagin Merubah B'Godim. All those halachas apply also to Merubah B'Godim. If you are from the second temple era, you're Kohen Gadol that you just don't have Shem and Mishcha, all these halachas apply to you except for what? Chutz mipar mevi al kol mitzvahs. Except for the par, about kol mitzvahs, that special par, the pnimi, like a Beis Din kind of par, that comes on a halachic mistake, a kohen that does not have the mishcha does not bring it. Is that Rabbi Meir or not Rabbi Meir? That's against Rabbi Meir. Strike number 1, remember, against Rabbi Meir. Continues the same brisa. V'chula noyagin be'mashiach she'ovar. All those halachas apply to the substitute, to those two rivalry people. Chutz mipar Kippur masir seifa. Except for Par Yom Kippur is still the exclusive work of the Kohen Gadol, the original one, and also the Sir Seifa, the 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon mincha. Hey, that is what? That is like Rabbi Meir. Ha ha! We found it, Yeroka. We found now somebody, one Mishnah, supposedly Rabbi Shimon. He believes Rabbi Meir in one thing, doesn't believe Rabbi Meir another thing. Very good. Nachon? That happens many times. Do you agree with your wife about everything? Of course you do. Yeah. Yeah, some things you agree, some you don't agree. Here too, Lavzil, Rabbi Shimon, you better. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Meir, yeah, one thing he agree, one thing he doesn't agree. Now, Zog the Gemara, V'chula, continues the brisa. V'chulan enagin b'mshuach milchomo. Tatara, Meshuach milchama, I promise you. We're going to learn more about that interesting Kohen, the chaplain Kohen, the one who's anointed to go to war with the people, with the chaylim, the soldiers. They do not apply to him. Most halachas of Kohen Gadol do not apply to Meshuach milchama. He's not a Kohen Gadol. He's not a Kohen Gadol. Yeah, he's a special Kohen, but not Gadol, and most things don't apply to him except for 5 things. Chutz Mihei Dvorim, Chamisha Dvorim, Memurim B'Parsha. There are 5 things written in the same Parsha, yeah, in Emor, and there it says special things that also apply to Meshuach Milchama. Lo Porea Velo Poirem. He's not allowed to demonstrate any kind of avelus. Do not leave your hair long and don't tear your clothes when a relative dies, if you're Meshuach Milchama. Supposed to be super tahor and not even become tummy even for close relatives. Yeah, Mr. Meshuach Milchama does not go to the lava of his own father, his own wife. The muzar al besula. Also, he's not allowed to marry unless she's a besula. You want to marry now another girl? She better be very, very, very young and a besula. The also balmono, and he's also balmono. That's the 5th thing. He's not allowed to marry an almono. Now comes a questionable 6th thing. Umachzir sarotzeach divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says that in case the rotzeach b'shoigeg, is there in the city, in the Ir Miklat, then the Kohen Meshuach dies, he does go back. That does liberate the Rotzeach. The Chachamim Oimrim Eino Machzir. Chachamim say no. For that, is not Choshuv, is not Machzir. Frag the Gemara. Okay, so that's the end of the Brisa. So what did we say? We found it. We found Mr. Who, the Tana, that holds partially like Rabbi Meir and partially not. Says the Gemara, V'hai, Mimaydu Rab Shimoni. How do you know that this Brisa is Rab Shimon? We didn't see the word Rab Shimon even once. Didn't say Rab Shimon Oimer. I didn't know it's Rab Shimon. I already gave you the answer. Who's the only opinion out of many that holds that Kohen Gadol is potur from Tumas Mikdash V'Kadoshov? He does not bring any korban if he entered the Mikdash with Tuma. Who is that? Rabbi Shimon. So by default, we know this Brisa must be Rabbi Shimon because the Brisa mentions this thing, and therefore the Brisa is Rabbi Shimon. He holds like Rabbi Meir regarding what? Regarding Sheni, regarding the substitute, the Shova. It does not hold like Rabbi Meir regarding the Merube. Begodim does not bring a korban chatas. Only Meshuach Milchama brings a special korban chatas primis. Yes, we are in the 5th wide line, and it's question time, and then you continue commercials. Yeah. Yes. Continues the Gemara. Chutz mechamisha dvorim amurim b'parsha. Mina hanimili. We said that there are 5 things that apply to a Kohen of the war. The Kohen Meshuach Milchama, there are 5 things that apply to him, and Mina hanimili. How do you know? What's the source? It's going to be good repetition review, and also sources. The Tana Obonon. The Kohen Gadol Me'echov. What has been a Kohen Gadol Me'echov? The greatest of his brothers. Ze Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol is the greatest one. Continues the posuk. Asher Yutze Kalosh Hashem and Mishcha. That has the anointing oil on his head. Ze Meshuach Milchama. Oh, that comes to include the Meshuach Milchama. That Meshuach comes to say, even if he's anointed to war, we're adding another person to the list, Meshuach Milchama. Umiles Yodoi, continues the pasuk, the one who's Miles Yodoi, that was Kilu inaugurated, was broken into the job, Lil B'Shes Abgodim, by wearing the clothes you became Kohen, now you've been appointed, Semeru B'Godim. That's a 3rd kind of Kohen, who has no Shem and Mishcha, only Ribu B'Godim. Al Kulanu Oimer, on all 3 Kohanim, Meru B'Godim, Shem and Mishcha and Meshuach Milchama, it says, yeah, he should not have the hair long, don't tear your clothes, he's not allowed to, be b'chlal in contact with any mace, like a Kohen Gadol, not even father or mother. The same pasuk later also talks about not leaving Beis Hamikdash even for Levaya, and keep the work going even while oinen. Talmud loymar, kinezel shemen mishchas aloykov, all love. It says, you know why? Because all love is an extra word which is like more, which minimizes, which excludes. Exclusive word, Allah velo al chaveroi. It says only he should keep working even ba'oinen, but not the other one. Now, which means what? Which means the Meshuach Milchama, does not work in Beis Hamikdash as an oinen. No, he's not supposed to work as an oinen. If you're oinen, stop working like a regular kohen if you're just a Meshuach Milchama. Wait a second. Once we found a difference already between the Kohen Gadol and the Meshuach Milchama, maybe the Meshuach Milchama is not commanded to have to marry only a basula. Okay, he can't marry an almana, can't marry for sure a grusha anyways, he's a kohen, but maybe he doesn't have to marry a basula. Let's even technical. Somebody went, I don't know, biking, horseback riding, and she's not a basula for technical reasons. Yeah? No, not almana. There is a non-basula and there's almana. Even a basula for technical reasons, she's the biggest tzedekah. Stam is no basulim. So then maybe he is allowed to marry that girl. Talmud loima vehu. Vehu comes to include. Ve comes to say vehu isha bebasula ikach. What's the ve? And he should only take a woman who's a virgin. Vehu. That comes to include also the kohen who is a kohen meshuach milchama supposed to marry only a basula, and he ketanoi. However, that is machlokes tanoim, the very last point of vehu. It says vehu isha bebasula ikach. Achel shechilach kosuv riba diva bishmol. Rabbi Shmuel says like us, after we differentiated the meshuach milchama regarding aninus, we have to re-include him regarding almana and say a basula and say yes, he should only marry a basula. That's Rabbi Shmuel, just like we said. We are Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva Omer, a whole different story. Rabbi Akiva learns a whole different halacha from vehu. Rabbi Akiva Omer, ainly elashova machmas kerioi. I only know that a kohen gadol that stopped working because it's Baal Keri, which means Baal Keri takes how long to get over? 1 day. By night, he'll be already kosher. Mikveh at night, finished. Machmas mumin minayin, which means, what happens if the Kohen Gadol has a mum and lo aleinu is handicapped for life? Yeah, lo aleinu is in a wheelchair. Somebody is Baal mum kavua. For the rest of his life, he will not be Kohen Gadol. What about marrying now a non-basula? Maybe can marry a woman is not a basula. Talmud loimer vehu. Now we say no. Vehu comes to tell me, and even if he is not a Kohen Gadol, practically not officiating as one because he's a Baal Mum forever, loleinu, then even then, vehu tells me he too cannot marry anybody, just a basula. Rov asks a question from Nachman regarding what we just said. Mashiach shenitztareh amar ba'almona. A Mashiach was a mitzoiro. Yeah, a Kohen Mashiach was a mitzoiro, and now can you marry an almona? What's the question? Midcha dachi. Do we say once Kohen, always Kohen? So even if he's a mitzoiro the rest of his life, but since he's been once a Kohen Gadol, officiating and very nicely, proudly working Beis HaMikdash, the status is doichit forever. Now he's rejected for life from marrying a non-basula. Oy miftopoto, maybe just temporary. As long as he works as a Kohen Gadol, halachically, he can't marry anybody else. It's not kosher for him. But now that he's not working, he can marry whoever he wants. I mean, not a grusha, of course. Lava biodid, he didn't know what to answer. Is that like a tour for life? Or is it just as long as he works as a Kohen, the Easter to marry a non-basula? I don't know. Zimni, in another time, something happened. Rav Yosef Rav Papa became Baile. Rav Papa was sitting there, and again, Rav asked Rav Papa, Omar Lehuna Breda of Nachman Rav Papa. Rav Papa didn't know the answer. Rav Huna Breda of Nachman, he's the one who gave the answer. He says, Nina, look, it says in the Mishnah, we just learned it. Only the one, the Kohen Gadol, which is Keri, which means he's going back to work. Then we say what? We say that he is, of course, they can't marry the almana that day. Ova machmas mumin minayin. Talmud loimer vehu. Vehu means that even if it's machmas mumin, vehu comes to tell me, even if it's a mum forever, still he can never marry an almana. Come, Rav Papa got up. Nashke Bereshi kissed him on his head. The Aiv Lebarte, he gave him his daughter as a wife. He loved him so much. In other words, he knows what's Kedusha, he knows what's marriage, he knows Torah. He was jumping with joy. That's the biggest I know a person can have, is to have a Chidush Torah, Erev Shavuos. And that's why he was so happy, Rav Papa, and he gave him his daughter to show, so choshev he is. Okay, we'll stop here, although it's not a full hour. Question time. Yeah. Thank you very much, Koltu. Bye-bye.